So before I get this video started, I just want to say that black men have been over-sexualized for many years, many years, since the beginning of slavery, before slavery. Um, they have been very over-sexualized. So have black women, but more so black men. And black men have always fallen victim to the false accusations of rape by white women. And I still don't understand to this day why black men still fool with white women. And it's very perplexing because, you know, when I say over sexualization, I'm saying that, black men have been, objectified based on their physique, based on the size of their penis, based on the beautiful melanation of their skin. And it's mainly by white women. Just like black women have been objectified by white men based on our breast size, based on our hips, based on our ass, and also based on our skin. So, Lena Dunham, I actually did not know who she was until this story came out. Um, she is an actress, and apparently she made some statements, racially charged statements about Odell Beckham Jr. So it says, Lena Dunham has apologized for racially charged statements that she made about New York Giants receiver Odell Beckham Jr. during an interview with Amy Schumer. In the apology, the Girl star acknowledges the often violent history of the over-sexualization of black male bodies, as well as false accusations by white women towards black men. As previously reported by The Root, Dunham had this to say about a close encounter with Beckham. I was sitting next to Odell Beckham Jr., and it was so amazing because it was like he looked at me and he determined I was not the shape of a woman by his standards. He was like, that's a marshmallow, that's a child, that's a dog. It wasn't mean, he just seemed confused. The vibe was very much like, do I want to fuck it? Is it wearing yep, it's wearing a tuxedo. I'm going to go back to my cell phone. It was like we were forced to be together, and he literally was scrolling Instagram rather than have to look at a woman in a bow tie. I was like, this should be called the Metropolitan Museum of Getting Rejected by Athletes. Now, her comment, of all the things she could have thought up in her head, for her to think that, and not only to think it, but then to say it in an interview, really? I mean, the fact of the matter is, okay, he's on his phone scrolling through Instagram. There could have been many reasons he was scrolling through Instagram. For instance, when I'm somewhere that I don't want to be, I scroll through Instagram. When I'm, around people that I don't want to talk to, and it really has nothing to do with who the people are, it's just at that time I don't want to talk to anyone, I scroll through Instagram. He could have been bored, but of all things, for her to think of why he did not want to talk to her, that's what she thought, because of what she looked like. That man probably does not give a damn about what you look like. And to me, that sounds very self-righteous. Like she's entitled to have this man, speak to her, to look at her. No, sweetheart, no. So in her apology on Instagram, she wrote, on Instagram of all things, of all places, she wrote, I owe Odell Beckham Jr. an apology. Despite my moments of bravado, I struggle at industry events and in life with the sense that I don't rep a certain standard of beauty. And so when I show up to the Met Ball surrounded by models and swan-like actresses, it's hard not to feel like a sack of flaming garbage. So because of your insecurities and your self-esteem, you take that out on Beckham because of how you feel. He has nothing to do with that. So you're basically saying that he's just this shallow man who only wants to look at models and thin actresses and not someone like you. This felt especially intense with a handsome athlete as my dinner companion and a bunch of women I was sure he'd rather be seated with. But I went ahead and projected these insecurities and made totally narcissistic assumptions about what he was thinking, then presented those assumptions as facts. I feel terrible about it because after listening to lots of valid criticism, I see how unfair it is to ascribe misogynistic thoughts to someone I don't know at all. Like, we have never met. I have no idea the kind of day he's having or what his truth is. But most importantly, I would never intentionally contribute to a long and often violent history of the oversexualization of black male bodies, as well as false accusations by white women towards black men. I'm so sorry, particularly to OBJ, who has every right to be on his cell phone. The fact is, I don't know about his state of mind. I don't know a lot of things, and I shouldn't have acted like I did. Much love and thanks, Lena. First of all, regardless of what she thought or how she felt about the situation, she never should have said anything. She should have kept those thoughts to herself. Like I tell my students, just because you think it does not mean that you have to say it. Not everything that goes on in your mind should be said out loud. So it says, Dunham does not mention her attempts to grind her ass on Michael B. Jordan for an additional 20 minutes before leaving the Met Gala. She has since edited that line out of her interview with Schumer. As for her completely narcissistic assumptions about Beckham, the Roots' Stephen Crockett Jr. noted the girl's creator took all of her self-loathing and placed it on the New York Giants star receiver. But differently, she weaponized her body against him while centering herself as the victim. Does she know how dangerous that is to portray this man as someone who is quote unquote victimizing her because of the way that she looks? Doesn't she know that the white woman making accusations like that and then going to say it to someone else can be turned into something completely different? Does she not understand how quickly that could have escalated if she had not said an apology? How things can be misconstrued and misworded, with given the age of information and technology, that someone could have taken that interview and overheard the interview and then said something else, that she said something else. Does she know how damaging that could have been for his career? It says these kinds of assumptions and lies about black masculinity and predatory behavior have led to such cases as the 1944 execution of George Steiny Jr. Steiny, the youngest person executed in the United States in the 20th century, was 14 years old and weighed 95 pounds when he was accused of murdering two white girls with a railroad spike. After a long legal battle, his conviction, which was handed down by an all-white male jury in 10 minutes, was overturned in 2014. So, granted, this happened in 1944, so that's what, 70 years? That's 70 years later. It was overturned. 10 minutes. And it took 70 years. And so that's the thing. That's an unfair jury. That's an unfair trial. An all-white male jury. It says these assumptions and lies also led to the 1931 arrest and false imprisonment of Alabama's Scottsboro boys who were accused of raping two white women. The arrest and imprisonment of William Harper after Dorothy Skaggs accused him of rape in Virginia that same year. The 1955 murder of 14-year-old Emmett Till by white supremacists for allegedly whistling at a white woman. And the 1989 arrest and false imprisonment of New York's Central Park Five who were accused of raping a white woman. Black men, I need y'all to understand something. White women are dangerous. Stay away from them. They are extremely dangerous. And the fact that y'all still mess around with them, y'all need to stop. Because of remarks by this woman, Lena Dunham, those remarks could have quickly escalated into something that could have landed this man in jail for no reason. Black men, get it together.